You know, Magic Kingdom is a very interesting park to follow, mainly because the park is about to become unrecognizable. I mean, it is the world's most visited theme park. It has long been home to some of the most iconic attractions in theme park history, none more recognizable than the icon alone of Cinderella's castle, which has stood as a symbol of Disney magic since the park's opening in 1971. Over the years, Magic Kingdom has been known for its original themes and groundbreaking attractions, but lately, Disney has shifted its focus towards integrating more of its more modern intellectual properties into the park. We've already seen this trend in action, how Tiana's Bayou Adventure recently replaced Splash Mountain, bringing in a fresh contemporary Disney IP. Tron Light Cycle Run was added to Tomorrowland. The Country Bear Jamboree underwent a renovation to feature only Disney songs. While updating attractions with more modern franchises makes sense from a business perspective, it does mean though we are losing some beloved classics. Looking specifically at the western side of Magic Kingdom, Frontierland is undergoing a near total transformation. The land itself will be completely changed. Country Bear Jamboree update is already complete, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is done, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is undergoing a full refurbishment. The most recent bombshell now from Disney, however, is the announcement of the major expansion that is known as Beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Tom Sawyer's Island and the Rivers of America are being replaced with a brand new land inspired by Cars, creating a frontier-themed version of Cars Land, but that's a discussion for another time. The biggest mystery, though, has always been Villains Land. This is finally happening, and it is insane that it's actually coming, because fans have been speculating this and requested this land for decades. What's exciting about Villains Land is that it isn't replacing any existing attractions. It's being built from the ground up in an untouched area of the park. This is exactly what Magic Kingdom needs, especially considering it already struggles with overcrowding. Expanding the park's footprint will also help alleviate some of those capacity issues while introducing an entirely new experience. So let's dive into what we know about Villains Land. It's fascinating to see Disney finally listen to the fans for once. Lately, it feels like we've been asking for things that either never happen or come in a form we don't really want. A perfect example is the Country Bear Jamboree update. The show was long overdue for a refresh, but fans mainly wanted improved lighting and animatronics, not a complete rewrite of the script and song lineup. Disney technically listened, but they put their own spin on it, leaving just a hint of disappointment. While the show has looked better than it ever has, it just doesn't feel the same. So when it comes to Villains Land, honestly, the biggest question is, will it actually happen? Disney has a history of announcing these major projects and then they never come into fruition. Just in the past decade, we've seen multiple cuts and cancellations. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was supposed to have more interactive elements and shows, but they were scrapped in favor of experiences exclusive to the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, and we see how well that went. The Epcot 2.0 project also saw several promised attractions vanish, including the Floating Island, Disney Play Pavilion, Spaceship Earth Our Shared Story, Mary Poppins Land. Even Harmonious, that did end up opening, was cut just a couple years after its release, and that was meant to be Epcot's signature nighttime shows for years to come. This pattern of Disney's scaling back projects raises concerns about what Tropical America's Animal Kingdom is actually going to look like when it finally opens. From what we know, Disney likely won't begin construction on Villains Land until Cars Land is either nearing completion or fully open. But even Cars Land isn't a sure thing yet. There's a lot of excitement surrounding these future additions, but just as much uncertainty. If Villains Land does move forward, I would say the earliest we could realistically expect it to open would be around 2030, which sounds wild, considering that's still 5 years away. However, Disney hasn't even started construction yet, and past projects like Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind and Tron Light Cycle Run each took 5 years to complete. Granted, that was in the middle with COVID, but still, a ride should not take that long. Since Villains Land would be an entirely new built from the ground up area, a 2030 opening would actually be the absolute best case scenario. More realistically, we might be looking at a 2031, even a 2032 opening. Assuming construction does begin, the big question is, what will Villains Land then actually include? I wouldn't be surprised if Disney takes heavy inspiration from Dark Universe over at Epic Universe. It's clear that Disney has just now noticed how popular these spooky horror-adjacent franchises can be. Even before Dark Universe has opened, its merchandise has been flying off the shelves and is already one of the most anticipated lands in the park. Given this, I think Disney will lean into this eerie, gothic aesthetic and try to capture the same kind of fan excitement Universal has built with Dark Universe. So when looking at what Villains Land will actually entail, let's start with the restaurants. Disney recently announced that Tortuga Tavern is coming to Adventureland across from Pirates of the Caribbean, making it the first true bar/lounge in the Magic Kingdom, given that it would be a no-brainer for Disney to include a bar in Villains Land. Looking at the Burning Blade Tavern from Dark Universe, it hasn't even opened yet, and that's what people are most excited for. So a dark villain-themed lounge with creative drinks, unique food offerings, and even some live entertainment would be an absolute hit. Beyond the bar, though, I fully expect both a large sit-down restaurant and a quick service option. Villains Land has an enormous variety of characters to pull from, so it makes sense to offer a fast themed dining experience for guests who just want to eat and have a nice themed experience, while also having a highly immersive over-the-top restaurant for those who want a more signature dining experience. Disney is known for its incredible restaurant theming. I will say if there's anything Disney does right, it is those restaurants. And the land presents the perfect opportunity for them to go all out. Entertainment will also play a key role. I wouldn't be surprised if the land features atmospheric entertainment, like themed music on the streets and live performances in restaurants and bars. I also think a full-scale stage show is also almost a given. Hollywood Studios is already replacing Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy with a new villain-themed show, so it makes sense for Magic Kingdom to take that concept and expand it on in a much bigger way. Magic Kingdom is also home to some of Disney's most iconic animatronic-based shows, like Carousel of Progress and Enchanted Tiki Room, so with that in mind, an all-animatronic villain show could be a genius idea. Imagine seeing some of Disney's most infamous villains come to life through cutting-edge animatronics. It would be a true spectacle. Plus, as I mentioned earlier, anything that increases Magic Kingdom's overall capacity is a huge win. At the end of the day, it feels like Disney is building Galaxy's Edge, but for villains. Everything I've mentioned so far already exists in Galaxy's Edge minus the sit-down restaurant, so it wouldn't be surprising if they take that same immersive world-building approach here. Villains Land is also expected to have a similar ride lineup to other immersive lands, meaning we'll likely see, I would guess, 2 major attractions. A massive dark ride seems like a given, especially considering Disney's love for trackless technology. We've already seen the ride system used in Runaway Railway, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Rise of the Resistance, and now Encanto is reportedly set to feature a similar system. So despite its popularity, Magic Kingdom shockingly does not have a trackless ride yet. Meanwhile, Hollywood Studios has 2, and Epcot and Animal Kingdom both have 1 now. This seems like the perfect opportunity to now introduce it to the Magic Kingdom. While Cars Land might also include a trackless attraction, it appears to be a different take on the technology. So for Villains Land, a dark ride with the more standard trackless approach, they could easily go in 2 different directions with the theme. Either guests can join the heroes as they try to stop the villains from taking over, or maybe this time they side with the villains and help carry out their evil plan. Maybe for the first time, the bad guys win. Another option would be centering the ride around a single villain. Something like the Evil Queen, Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, maybe even Hades. However, a ride that brings multiple Disney villains together in a dark ride form would probably make the most sense. But now looking at the main concept art we were given for Villains Land, a roller coaster is clearly visible in the background, which makes perfect sense. Now obviously Disney is known for building things that look nothing like the concept art, so we can't really judge it that much. But a roller coaster just makes perfect sense. It would be a huge missed opportunity to not include one. Given the dark and sinister theme, Disney could really get creative with it, making it one of the most thrilling attractions Disney has ever seen. Now, a lot of people are speculating that this will be the intense coaster Disney finally builds, their answer to Velocicoaster and Stardust Racers, a full throttle, all-out thrill ride. But again, remember, this is Disney. So it's probably not going to be a record-breaking extreme coaster, but I do think it would be a standout attraction, and arguably the best coaster in the park. Now, my best guess, obviously the manufacturer will be Vekoma, that's basically a guarantee, but I think the ride will feature a more family-friendly take on a tilt coaster. When you think about it, that concept fits perfectly. A tilt coaster themed to a villain would be an incredible addition. Looking at it, it looks like the Maleficent Dragon would be the theme, which I think makes the most perfect amount of sense. It would bring something truly unique to Disney's lineup, especially if they keep it outdoors for a striking visual. The ride doesn't even need to have multiple inversions, maybe just one, if any. Instead, it should focus on dynamic twists and turns, maybe even a well-placed launch to add excitement. Ideally, it would hit that sweet spot between Cosmic Rewind and Rock and Roller Coaster. Thrilling, but not overwhelming. Most importantly, it needs to be long enough to maintain that high capacity while keeping the experience engaging from start to finish. Maybe a 3 to 4 minute throw ride with stops that would have story sections, then you would launch again, and then you have the tilt section. If Disney takes this approach, I think it would be a genius move for the Villains Land. This land seriously has the potential to be one of, if not the best immersive area Disney has ever created. The possibilities are endless, and it's exciting to imagine what could come to life here. Now, we still have to wait and see if any of this actually happens, but I am very hopeful. But now, I want to hear from you. What do you think Villains Land will include? Do you think Disney will follow through with it, or will it end up being another scrapped concept? Drop your thought in the comments down below. I love reading each and every one of them. Additionally, if you're interested in high quality POVs or off-ride footage, we have it all here, so be sure to check out my second channel, TPH Productions. And with that, this is Hunter from Theme Park Hunting, and I will see you all later.